Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen podcast. Today, as you see from the title, we're going to be talking about cycles and spirals, right? But we're going to talk about it from a different perspective. Um, I was, speaking with somebody about breaking cycles, and sometimes I have moments where I like tap into something during a mid conversation and like something epiphananical. That ain't a word, but I made it up. Epiphananical will pop out on me. And it's like people be like, why can't I break my cycle? I'm in a certain cycle, certain position. Why can't I break it? And it'll be like, you can break it. I used to say that shit, you can break it, like I said, but then this epiphany hit me that's like, we can't break cycles. Cycles can't be broken because we got to understand what a cyclic motion is. For a cycle to happen, it has to have a definitive start and a definitive end. Okay, we established that part, right? But a lot of us don't realize that cycles have layers to them, which ultimately turns them into spirals, like slinkies, right? We have our root cause for whatever started the cycle, but and that will be quote unquote the principle. Y'all know how, I define masculinity, femininity, and shit. Masculinity is principle, femininity is detail, but you need to go both, be infused with both of them. That's why I always be telling people masculinity ain't in this world as an essence because most people focus on the details of everything. But that's beside the fact. So we look at the detail of the cycle and don't realize that it's actually a, spiral, you know. And what I mean by that is that there's a root cause from a specific cycle that triggers everything else in the reality that creates the multiplicities of the different things that we do based off of that particular cycle, right? That cycle could be good, that cycle could be bad, but ultimately it elevates and adds more details as we flow through. And those details derive from a principle. Like I was saying, it's like a slinky. You feel what I'm saying? We know the start of a slinky, the end of a slinky, but it coils up because it spirals. You feel what I'm saying? So when we look at cycles, like, can we really break them? Like, if we're going to acknowledge that we fuck with the stars, if we're going to acknowledge that we fuck with cyclic shit in our own lives, we have to realize that our individual lives are cyclic, you know? And this is something that I've learned and observed about myself personally when I looked at shit that, happened over a certain time. Like, not only, like I said, when I did the Myriad of Emotions episode talking about cycles for men and shit, I started to look at things differently on a bigger scale for life. And that bigger scale that I started to look at things differently was that certain points in my life, the same shit happened. Details may have been different, but the same shit happened. So when you look at relationships, when you look at all kinds of other shit, like I peeled back the layers on so many different things, and I was like, yo, this same situation is happening, but the details are different because I had to realize that it wasn't a cycle that I was stuck in. It's a spiral. Because when we look at a cycle literally comes right back to the start the exact same way. You feel me? And this is why a lot of us can't really accept or meet the point that we are in a cycle or that we are able to break one, right? And the thing is that you can't break a cycle. You can only adjust the direction in which the spiral goes. You hear from, conscious gang, you feel me? They were like, yo, you gotta vibe up. Your vibrations are low. Like that is a part of the cycle. Because now we're gonna break down those words too. You got vibration, right? The vibration is like basically mathematically, the vibration is like the sines and cosines of how a particular wave propagates. Shit scientifically proven, and it's energetically proven as far as spiritual side goes too, right? You have vibrations, you have frequency. Frequency is the number of times that something starts and ends. You know what I'm saying? So basically, frequency is how a circle is complete. And this is one of the things that we talk about with a cycle. They're like, yo, get your frequency right. So now the frequency is the cycle itself. Now, whether your frequency is going to be positive is whether it spirals up, whether it's going to be negative is where it spirals down. And that ties into cycles because in our individual lives, you can't break the cycle. You have to adjust the way the cycle is going because there's certain things that just can't be broken because it becomes you're born as an extension of it. And that was the whole mind fuck of a lot of the shit generational that has been passed down to us because it doesn't matter where you go, what like the cycle is set. So you have to adjust the spiral. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And as always, that's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into spirals and circles and whatever else I have as a subtitle by the time this shit is done. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're gonna dive straight into this episode, yo. So yeah, running it back, like I was talking to one of my homies and shit. We are talking about cycles, breaking cycles, generational, you know what I'm saying? And we got to the conversation. I was like, yo, bro, it's like no matter how many cycles I break, no matter how many cycles I feel like I'm breaking, the shit don't fucking break, it stay there. And he's like, yo, so how do you break a cycle then? And like I said, it hit me. It's like, because it's not a cycle, it's a spiral. You feel me? We spend more time trying to break the cycle than we do redirecting the spiral, which we have more power to redirect the spiral than we do to break the cycle. You feel me? Because we got to look at how deep the cycles run. You feel me? How deep the cycles run. And most of our cycles, if you live in here in America and shit, fuck that. If you fucked up by imperialism and colonialism as a whole, if you black, our cycles run significantly deeper and far more traumatic in there. The spirals are down. So it's like, as we redirect our spirals and try to move them, it's like sometimes that normalcy can be so locked in that we don't try to change the direction of the spiral. You know what I'm saying? And then in the fact that we've changed the direction of the spiral, sometimes we don't acknowledge it and we're like, yo, I got to break the whole cycle. Some cycles can't be broken. You feel me? Some cycles can be broken. And I want to go ahead and address that now because it's cycles. Cycles are habits of longevity, generational habits, basically, right? So it's like habits can't be broken. They can only be created, which is a crazy thing. Habits cannot be broken. The moment you accept the habit, only thing that you can change in that habit is how the spiral moves, right? All habits have, a reward and a cue and a reward. So anything that you're doing in life that becomes habitual in your life, you have an initiating point, you have a reward that you receive from it, or a punishment or a consequence, whatever the case may be. Only thing you can change to alter that habit is to change the routine that is in between that habit. You dig what I'm saying? For example, let's say a motherfucker, I'm gonna put it on a real basic perspective, right? Let's say, um, let's say weight management. We'll say the cycle itself or the habit itself is weight management, right? Right. The end goal, the beginning goal is movement of some sort. Okay. Hmm. I'll say the beginning, the cue is to be in shape, right? To be in shape or not be in shape, right? The final goal is whether you're going to lose weight or gain weight, right? But the routine in the middle determines everything. If your routine is every morning, I wake up, you know what I'm saying? Wake up, do some push-ups, stretch and shit consistently, then my weight management is going to be on a positive spiral. But if I say, you know what, I'm going to wake up, not do shit, eat and everything, now your weight management is going to be on a negative spiral. Still weight management, still same cycle. I mean, still same habit, still same reward, but it's a different cue, which triggers a different direction of that reward. You feel what I'm saying? It's like rewards and consequences are pretty much quote unquote opposite sides of the same coin, as people would like to say. So when you look at rewards and consequences, it's like they are the reaction and a result of an occurrence. But we know rewards are positive, consequences are bad and the negative, right? So it's in the direction of the spiral. Now, here's where it gets fucked up because it's like in our minds, if we perceive the spiral as good, then it's good. If we perceive the spiral as bad, then it's bad. You feel me? It's like that phrase they say, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, no, if you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. Because in your mind is what you perceive for your reality, right? So now when we apply that to a bigger scale, when we actually look at cycles, the generational curses that we think we're breaking and shit, and we wonder why every time I change, it's like what happens because you're trying to break the cycle rather than adjust the spiral. You feel what I'm saying? And in completely breaking the cycle, you're using it in a different dynamic. Case in point, I'll go ahead and get this out of the way because you already know I'm gonna talk about religion at some point in this motherfucker. It's just inevitable with these conversations. You feel me? Um when I tell people that I understand religion and I made a choice to either accept or reject the religion, right? I made that choice based off of the fact that I could not change the cycle, only the spiral in which I was connected to the cycle. The cycle is the cultural imprint of Christianity for me in particular, and my people, or whatever here in America, like in my lineage and my background. It's like, oh, we've been Christian since whatever. All right, cool. So I kind of just came into the cycle. Cycle was already put in motion, and my spiral was already spinning. So it made it spin a different way. Now, this is what I'm saying. It's in your perception. In my original perception of the religion, it was like, it's all good. Nothing in it is wrong. Nothing in it is fake. Nothing in it is an illusion or something that I can't fuck with. So my spiral in that, the cycle was being fed. This is why in Sofrel 3, when I get to the mind, when I talk about reaffirming belief and obtaining knowledge are two totally different things. You feel what I'm saying? This is why I break that down this way, because reaffirming belief is how you keep your spiral spinning in that direction. And in addition to that, it is how you choose to address your cycle, right? And I'm gonna get to why that's important as I elaborate more on this. So initially, my spiral spun in the same direction of the spiral for my cycle spun in the same direction as those around me. You feel what I'm saying? Because initially it was just believe everything. It's like, yo, take my word. Because you look up to the adults that are reading this, they passing out, they showering, they doing all of this shit. Doing all of this shit. I'm not even gonna hold you. I've never, and I can honestly admit that shit, I've never truly caught what they said they were catching. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So if a part of me was like, yo, the spirit fell, and I just thought I never felt that. I never felt it and didn't know why. And it was just like, nah, this ain't, so I would try to reaffirm my spiral. I went deeper into it, read it and all of that shit. So my spiral is spinning according to the circumstances that I'm in. So I'm watching like just how, my people are you know, vibing and shit. And our vibes was always tight because our cycle was the same. We had a consistent cycle. So we'll be talking about religion, talking about the Bible, talking about this. And it's like we stay in a certain pocket of reaffirmed shit. We never really revisited, we never visited the other things. And this is why I'm saying, this is why I always say you need to study the antithesis of a thing. Because the antithesis of the thing, it brings you to a point where you can direct which way your spiral is going to go, right? Because you're no longer reaffirming belief. You're now obtaining knowledge and making a choice. Understanding is the level that you have to reach with your mind so you can accept or reject something. If you are not able to reach the level of your mind, you remain at the belief level, which means you have to operate out of fear and faith. This is why I tell people fear and faith are the same shit. They're just opposite sides of the same coin. Fear is avoiding something you have no information about. Faith is going towards something you have no information about. So when they teach us to walk by faith and not by sight, now we're spiraling from a direction that makes the religion 100% positive for us. No matter what goes on, we're not calculating a lot of the things that we're doing. And we stay away from the other shit that could make us, that could ultimately negate they make it seem as if you study other shit outside of it, it'll negate what you've learned. But what it really does is gives you the opportunity to make a choice. None of us have ever really made a choice when it comes to our religion. We pick the only option available. I break that down in Sofrel 3 as well. Options and choices are not the same shit, but we get an option and we have our options reaffirmed for us, and it makes our spiral spin. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm gonna continue to what I'm doing. So my spiral was in conjunction with the cycle that I was in. But as I studied the religion and shit, I personally had to change my cycle. Now, this isn't for everybody, but this is how my life perceived it because of how I learned it and how I went into it, right? when I studied history, the only way as a black man that I could fit in this book and fit in this religion is as a slave or somebody who's inferior. Any of the contexts, and I had to look at it from how I learned it from churches, how I learned it from pastors and stuff. As they broke it down, they always revisited the Hebrew slaves. You feel what I'm saying? This is why I tell people, and this is the part of really understanding, and this is what I'm about to break down, is how the spiral can change. Because there's two types of chosen people in the Bible. I don't get like, and I mean that in the sense of, yeah, we know they're Israelites, so to speak, they're God's chosen people, but there's two representations of how these people are exhibited in this book. You dig what I'm saying? On one hand, they were slaves. They were enslaved by the Egyptians or whatever the case may be, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, they were conquerors. They went and pillaged and took over lands and put to the sword all men, women, children, and cattle. Both contexts in the same fucking book about the same people expressed differently. How did my people end up getting the perspective that we were slaves? Always gonna be slaves. We started off as slaves, while the other side gets the perspective that they're the conquerors. And you see it play out in real time. You feel what I'm saying? So it took me to go back because I started to see the full dynamic of it. Then it's like, how did the slavery be affirmed? And I look at how rooted my people are with the Jesus mentality of, you feel me? In Ephesians, it says, slaves, honor your masters as if you would Jesus Christ. Okay, cool. It was absolving these barbarians. They were using this to absolve themselves while showing us why our punishment was okay. Yo, you got to love me like you love Jesus. So that creates Stockholm syndrome. Because now I create this reality that this man, there's no greater man in the book. It says there's no greater name above this, blah, blah, blah. And I want you to hold this man to a certain regard, but now I want you to hold me there too. So now when we look at white people, when we look at the quote unquote slave masters and shit, now this is cyclic. When we look at the slave masters and shit, we see no matter what wrong they do, we still innately, this goes back to the episode that I was on about the introns and exons and the Akashic records. This goes back to we innately associate them with superiority. Even when they're doing this fucked up shit, we sick, massa. No, bitch, you sick. You feel what I'm saying? Even when it's like, and we have these moments where that assimilation makes it reality because of how deep it is woven into our Akashic records. You dig what I'm saying? So our cycle becomes a spiral that is constantly reaffirmed. So when we go to churches, when you hear like, this is a funny moment. I've been to both black church and white church, right? And I realized they preach it totally different. You feel me? Totally different. Not just from the fact that we have, praise teams and all this other shit, and they just preach and go the fuck home. They literally tell different stories and shit. They tell the stories, but they tell them from a different perspective. So it's like, wait a minute, y'all programming these motherfuckers to be, and y'all programming us. Oh, this is why, you always frequently hear me say, the God of your enemy is your devil. I'm gonna say it again. The God of your enemy is your devil. When you and your enemy worship the same God, whose prayers get answers first? And who's the devil worshiper in that situation? Just something to ponder about, nothing to scare you or no shit like that, but really think about it because this is gonna go into the context of what we're talking about with spirals and cycles. I like to use extremes to really get my point across. So as I'm studying this information, I went back and forth between both of these aspects, and they don't teach that they ain't shit, that they ain't nothing without Jesus. They're not subservient like that. We literally believe that. And here's where the mind fuck comes in because not innately, but deep down on the inside, because we spend so much time trying to find Jesus, we know that Jesus is never around. Nobody wants to admit that shit because it's hard to be honest with that shit. Because when tragedy happens and you hear shit like, oh, he makes no mistakes. Nobody want to hear that shit during trauma. You feel what I'm saying? But look at what that's reaffirmed. That reaffirms in your mind that the tragedy that has happened to me was by design. It was supposed to happen. I'm supposed to suffer. So you create that spiral of suffering. Your cycle is off of suffering. No matter what you do, you don't feel like you can get anything positive because this is just the way life happens for you. And then you'll start to see how miserable certain people can be. You feel what I'm saying? And so for me personally, I had to look at it and say, yo, what's the issue with this? You feel me? And it took me to understanding the antithesis and started studying it like, oh, there's a whole other side that people don't talk about. There's missing books and shit. There's fucking levels to the different levels of religion. That's why you hear me say the shit that I say, because when I realized, damn, I ain't gonna hold you. I kept diving deep because I said, yo, we got to break these cycles of the enslavement and shit that's like, we were, excuse me, we're no longer enslaved mentally, I mean physically, We're barely enslaved mentally, but we're still shackled spiritually because it's like, yo, you didn't pick your God. Your God was picked for you. Now, when we understand what a God is the highest conceptualization of the mind. You feel me? Or some would say it's a point of creation, but a God as you is the highest conceptualization of the mind. And then when you understand how they really understood what gods were and what they used were, they were all forces of nature in some way, shape, or form. You feel me? And even going deeper, it ties back to the stars. I could break all of that down, but I want to stick to topic and I want to stick to the cycles and the cycles and spirals. So again, the core of religion is like, and this is why I'm like, yo, why are black people so subjugated in the root cause of all of this shit? And the root, when we get to it, is religion. Because now, like, they're like, okay, so does that mean we put down Christianity, pick up Islam? Mm-mm. No, because they're the same thing. They're cousins to each other. And both of these religions have enslaved black people under them. You have the transatlantic slave trade under Christianity and Judaism, and you have the sub-Saharan or trans-Saharan slave trade under Islam. Both enslaved and tortured and mutilated black people. But that Stockholm syndrome kicks in because we still have to focus this shit. And you can't, like, so now when you believe that, not understand, but when you believe that you are supposed to go through these conditions now, your time is going to come. Last shall be first. You got to go through this now so you can get that final reward in heaven. We're living through our hell on earth for the promise of heaven that we may or may not see. That's where the crazy shit is. It's like I've had people describe hell to a T and they said they've never been there before. How are you describing something you've never experienced? Oh, well, the book says this. Okay, cool. So now let's look at this. The book says hell, fire, and brimstone. It's going to be the worst physical possible death and shit or whatever. It's like, yo, you're going to burn for eternity. But we're souls. We know consciously. We always address this. Your body's not coming with you. Your physical body is the only thing that can burn. So you really burn in hell. You have to be a physical being to face the physical punishment. So now when I talk about the elements, air, water, fire, earth, earth, water, fire, and air, and I talk about it starts to become the intangible, intangibles, right? Air is above fire, right? Fire is the last tangible element we have. So from air on, that's what our souls feel. You don't feel air. Think about it. You've never experienced air before. You experience air's effects. You see the wind blowing by the effect of hot air and cold air moving a certain way, but you cannot see hot air and cold air. You can feel that shit though, because now it's setting into the subtle side of your soul. You feel what I'm saying? So now it ties into now you believe that shit that you're gonna burn in hell. Why? Because the two most, I guess, painful ways to die. I've never died before, so I can't explain it. But anyway, they say the two most painful ways to die are burning and by drowning. Right? Now, those are physical deaths, right? And so we associated the pain with the fact that we're going to be going through that all our lives. You feel me? If we go to hell. So, and that's, you feel me? It takes a point of understanding like, yo, well, but if I'm a soul, my soul can't be burned. Only my physical body can. And I can't take my physical body with me. That starts the gears turning. Look at it like, whoa, wait a minute. You dig what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Even with like from Islam, from people that like motherfuckers really feel like they're gonna get 72 virgins. I'm like, yo, nigga, who gonna be the virgins? Like I be like, this is why I be looking at women like I'm no shot of shade of y'all, y'all fuck with religion, but I really be wondering like why the hell do y'all fuck with religions? Because they don't fuck with y'all. Because they be like, yo, a man, he's gonna die, go to heaven and get 72 virgins. And don't laugh at just Islam, because in Christianity the belief is 10. You feel me? It's in the book. But there's supposed to be 72 virgins for Islam, 10 virgins for, for Christianity. But it's like, who the fuck are the virgins gonna be? Now, because now we got to go back to the context of the shit and look at it from, okay, the virgins were like, you feel me, like 12 years old and shit, 13 years old. Like that's, you feel me? Ultimately, because it was a pedophilic society. Again, more shit that's a part of reaffirming that you just hear and you don't actually go into. You feel me? So that cycle stays committed. You feel me? I know it seems like I'm jumping around, but that cycle stays committed and it starts to spin. And as the generations pass down, you don't even have to read the motherfucker anymore, because you can let a motherfucker tell you some shit that get trusted. Like, for example, when people tell me they know Jesus, they're like, I know Jesus. I seen him. I seen no. I'm trying to tell them you didn't see Jesus. You haven't experienced Jesus. You've seen a phenomena, a supernatural phenomena, whatever the case may be, and you can't explain it. So you put that title on it. That's something that they taught us to do at a long time ago. It absolves you of accountability. When you feel like anything bad in your life is a devil and everything good is either Jesus or God or Allah, whatever, what do? You don't even take the time to fathom. I put myself in this situation. You feel me? Because that which you give credit to, you can also blame. And that which you blame, you can also give credit to. Because now when I look at people who say the devil is busy, right? And they talk about traumatic situation, trauma going on in their life. And then when they come out of it, they be like, but you feel me? It was a blessing in disguise. God worked. So it's like, okay. So at what point did it change? At what point was it no longer the devil anymore? Or was it always God the whole time playing with you? You feel me? This is not me trying to come at anybody's religion. I'm speaking on how the cycles work because some people don't come in and question this shit, right? Because it's like, now, if you're gonna give credit, if you're gonna blame the devil for your shortcomings, you kind of have to give him credit for the blessing in disguise that it turned into. Nobody's gonna do that. You feel me? Or if you get something good and you be like, yo, I'm blessed or whatever the case may be. I got favor. This was nothing but God, Allah, Jehovah, Christian, Judas. But when you put that up there and then something bad happens, do you still put the blame on the good, on like, you know what I'm saying, on the good side of it? You can't, because that's the part of the spiral. That's the part of the understanding that either you have to accept or reject, because you have to know both dynamics of how it plays out. So I'm tying that back in because when I ask people like, you know Jesus, right? Yeah, I know Jesus, blah, blah, blah. They get upset. They get tight. So I'll be like, what's his real name? Nigga, his real name Jesus. Off rip, that shows me you don't know this man. Because that's not his name. So I let that go. You feel me? I let that go because, it's like, whatever. I talk about that shit in Sober Other. But I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, you know this man. Yep, I know him. I love him. I'm in love with Jesus. Blah, blah, blah. He's the only man I need. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I'm a straight man who's in love with Jesus. Like, nigga, what? Y'all be saying some crazy shit. But I know because I used to say that crazy shit too. So some of the shit that I'm uttering is not what I've heard people say, is what I've said myself, right? But in that, it's like, yo, you know this man, right? Where was he at for 18 years? I blow people's mind when I ask that question. They're like, what you mean? I literally had a person who's devout studying it for like probably longer than me, or going back over it for as long as me. But they was like, that's a good question. That's something you should research. No, that's something you supposed to know. And you know why you don't know it? Because you're not supposed to know it, because it doesn't exist. That content, that information doesn't exist. 18 years of this man's life is wiped out, but everybody knew who he was, where he was, what he did at all times for 30 years. He died at 33. We only know his story from birth to 12 years old. There's a long gap between 30 until he becomes 30 and turns to 33 when he starts preaching. Where was he at for 18 years? You dig what I'm saying? But you know this man? Mm-mm. It's motherfuckers right now that I haven't seen in 6 months. I don't know them no more. It's motherfuckers who haven't seen me in 6 months who don't. They're like, yo, you different. You feel me? So the greatest man, allegedly, on the earth has been missing for 18 years and just nobody knew where he was at. And 12 years old, he's preaching the temples, and we don't see him again until he gets baptized by John at 30. 18 years he was gone in fucking the Middle East. So now when we put that shit in context, when we look at how, Moses went from Egypt to what was it, Jerusalem? They told him he was gonna wander for 40 days and 40 nights, or whatever the case may be. That seems so like, oh, they were just lost, walking in circles. They weren't walking far. Google, like when you get time, just Google the distance between Jerusalem and Egypt. It's walking distance. And it ain't gonna take you 40 years to get there. You feel me? I think it was like, I think the thing, I think it was like, it's just like a low number of kilometers, but they were like that the whole time. So it's little shit that you got to actually put reality to, what I'm saying, to the shit. That's why they low key separate church and state. If they really taught you about your religion concurrently while they taught you science, as they're supposed to, because you can't separate spirituality and science. You feel me? But that's a whole different context. So when we look at these spirals and shit, and now how these spirals are playing out, like women are on some shit like, I don't know why I can't have a good solid relationship. You feel me? especially religious women. Peep this, right? You have already elevated Jesus to a standard that you will not elevate your black man. And you wonder why it won't work with him? You want this man to do, like, your unconscious mind has already set Jesus up to a certain standard that he's all the man you need. He always provides. He always does certain things. You've never met this man a day in your life, contrary to what people say. Muhammad too, Allah, like you never met him. Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, because you got to understand what the deities really are. But you never met these beings, but a lot of our culture has elevated them to a certain standard. I remember one time this hit me, and I remember the year was in 2012. And I was, trying to get at this woman and shit. I mean, she was very religious, but she was real beautiful. Like, she was bad. I wanted her bad. Like, you feel me? And she made the comment. She said, "You have to be in love with Jesus more than you're in love with me for us to talk." And I was like, at the time, I was like, I get it. Because I'm like, but as I'm older now, it's like, wow, you're making me compete with a standard that you can't really fathom. Because now, like I said, it ties back into the 18 years. You don't even know where this man was for 18 years. There's no chronicle like you, whatever book, you feel me? Because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John tell the story, but they don't give you 18 years of his life. But they chronicled everything else. How you fucking miss 18 years? I get 18 days. I can even give you 18 months, but 18 fucking years. You missed that. You feel me? So as that is going, it's like when she tells me that, I'm like, damn. How do I compete with that? How many black men do you think are asking that question right fucking now? How do I compete with that? How do I compete with that? You feel me? You have elevated this man to such a level that I have to, like, I have to try to embody him the best way I can, but I can't know him. You feel me? I can't figure out how he moves or whatever the case may be. Now, this ties it to the other side because now we wonder why, you feel me? I know I know in my familial structure, all of the religious men are soft and they're like, all of the devout, they're like, why he act like that? He act like Jesus. Nigga, he act just like the depiction of Jesus. So that spiral makes him operate from that perspective. And I get it. People have that. You forget Jesus was in the temple with the whips. All right, cool. But he let niggas fade him right after that. You feel me? I get it. I respect the whips and shit. Like he turned over there and shit. He flipped the tables and shit and was like, yo, y'all, I know y'all ain't gambling in this motherfucker. You feel me? Turn that shit off. Yo, put that shit. And he beat him in the church or whatever the case may be. But it's like, check his entire vibe though. He was very passive. He was the quote unquote Prince of Peace. You feel what I'm saying? But even that, a lot of people missed the shit. They missed his power. You got motherfuckers being passive and not powerful. Cause even then, like, motherfuckers think that this is the power of the words and shit. Like, the nigga woke up from the middle of a boat, went outside in the storm and said, yo, peace be still, and went the fuck back to sleep. Can niggas do that shit now? No. But I'm saying, if we always talking about, and this is what the thing that got me, because now when I talk about shit, like when I utter the words, yo, I'm a God, bro, and people be like, yo, that's blasphemous. It's like, yo, in the very book, it says ye are gods. In the very book, Jesus even reaffirms, like, nigga, y'all are gods. What y'all asking me for? He said, your books say that you are gods. Why are y'all not acting like it? I came back to show y'all niggas that y'all should be doing this shit any fucking way. You feel what I'm saying? So when you acknowledge that and you're like, yo, I'm a God too. Why the fuck not? I'm created in the image. Like, why? Why can I not be? Because then it requires you to be powerful. A lot of motherfuckers don't have to do that. So now, when we look at the spiral of like, why are men like this? People be like, yo, why are you against religious men? I admit, Matt, there's no such thing as a masculine religious man. Because who are they trying to embody? They're trying to reach the pinnacle of the biggest, the greatest messenger of that religion. You feel me? Muhammad was illiterate, bro. No shot to him, but he was illiterate, which means he couldn't read and write, which means even if he did tell the motherfuckers about, the structure of the Quran and what his divine, he couldn't proofread it. But again, we got motherfuckers, and this ain't no shot. This ain't no shot because I'm just putting the correlations in together, how spirals work and how Akashic records tap in. Because I know a lot of Islamic brothers, I know a lot of Muslim brothers who struggle to comprehend regular shit, who can't read or write. You feel me? They can read enough to, to get to fill out an application and shit like that. But consistently being able, they embody Muhammad. You feel me? Same shit with the religious man. Like I've all of the devout religious man, and I know this because I started to become this way. I went from the type of motherfucker who slapped the shit out of you off rip. You feel me? When motherfuckers didn't fuck with me when I was a teenager. Now, mind you, I was doing this as a teenager, but then when I become a grown man, I'm passive. Yo, don't let this fool you. Don't let this shit fool you. Fool what? Nigga, this me. Then I had to come back to it because it's like when you start, oh, you gonna pray, you gonna do this, you gonna like turn the other cheek. No, you're not gonna get the first cheek to slap. You can suck my dick, bro. Like, but these are parts of cycles. This is a conditional cycle that is pushed down deep within our psyches. It's in our Akashic records. It has gone down so deep that we embody it. And now we're in an age, like I said, we're in the Aquarian age. Again, this is a different cycle, but it's spinning differently. The zodiac signs, they're cyclic motions. That's why I talked about birth in the beginning. And it's like we're affected by cycles so much. We're in a different cycle now. The previous cycle, when religion worked and all that other shit, it was in the Piscean age. The Pisces zodiac sign is about believing shit, belief and love. Those are the two biggest things Jesus brought. I mean, he was a fisher of men. He was I'm not gonna get into that. I've already broken that shit down, but we're in the Aquarian age now. A new spiral is beginning. The old spirals, they're not working anymore. The old spirals are damaging in this new space. You feel what I'm saying? The old cycles are damaging in this new space, but a lot of us are still operating from those old spirals because a new one is now beginning. Even in the book, it says, after the great battle, you get, you feel me? New heaven, new earth. Nobody understood the allegory of that shit because after you have a spiritual awakening, the 7 seals break, the 7 chakras open up, you get your spiritual awakening. If you master the shit, you learn to spiral up because the cycle is the same. Now we're going to go back into personal shit. I just did the religion to get all the way to that point. When we look at the cycle, it's already implanted. It's how you're going to use that cycle. When I look at astrology, right, numerology, whatever, everybody's like, yo, I don't believe in shit. I understand it and I know how to use it. So when we're looking at astrology and the cycles of astrology and shit like that, you don't believe in astrology. You use the energy and how it's affecting you and how it's associated with you. You feel me? You create relationships off of what you lack in your life based off of the stars and shit like that, but understanding the elements. For example, I'm gonna use the most perfect example right now because it fits. I'm an Aries, but more than that, a lot of my big three, my big three are all fire, right? I'm vibing with somebody, you feel me, whose big three is all air. You feel me? That is like when you look at the four elements, air, fire, water, and earth, then you have to look at the 4 modalities they create. Wet, dry, something else, and because earth and fire is dry, earth and water is cold. Earth and water is cold, water and air is wet, and then air and fire is hot. All right, so when you look at how these play out, you got to come into the middle of the balance. I know that I'm in balance. I knew that with all of that fire, I need air, either air or earth. I can't use water because it becomes volatile because it extinguishes me. I need air or earth air or water, air or earth to stabilize my fire. It's either going to be hot, metaphorically, or it's going to be dry. I'm not a dry motherfucker. Can't really fuck with air. You feel me? Like, but there's times when that is needed. You feel what I'm saying? I need to reduce some of the excitability that I have as a fire sign. But at the same time, when you master certain things and you learn how to be hot, you learn how to channel and use that air energy. I know when I need to be hot. I know, like, I'm at the space now because I've been in such a quote unquote hermit mode or whatever the case may be while I was building my entrepreneurship. It's like, it's time to have fun again. You worked enough. That was earth energy. You feel what I'm saying? You worked enough. You built everything you need. Now, air energy is in my space. And now that I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's perfectly making me hotter. It's like, yo, you vibing this shit. You feel me? I've already peeped that shit early. So you got to learn how to use this shit. But what I'm saying, I said that to say this, your natal chart starts the cycle for you. All of the experiences that you're gonna have in your life, it's the cycle is there. But how are you gonna spiral it up or down? You feel what I'm saying? I know it's like, yo, you spend all of that time on religion because it was important, because that is an extreme that people have to pay attention to, because how are you going to direct the spiral? This is this reason why I tell people like, yo, I can still go there with it. because I know how to direct this. I know how to direct the spiral in whatever direction I want it to go, which means I now control the cycle. The cycle doesn't control me. That's where I was really getting at with the shit as I'm transitioning to this next part. I control the cycle. The cycle doesn't control me because I've addressed the spiral that it is. You feel what I'm saying? If I know that this religion was used to enslave me, I also have to use it to liberate me. You dig what I'm saying? Nat Turner showed you that. We can't watch the whole movie on Nat Turner. He decided to spiral in the way that was beneficial for his people with the same fucking cycle. You feel me? Because when he saw from this same cycle, I'm putting my people in danger. Let me use this same shit to liberate them, to take them into safety. It's all in how you choose to operate from the spiral. You dig what I'm saying? When I first got out of the shit, like I was scared to get out of it. I'm not gonna lie to you, but what helped me get out of it was when I read First Thessalonians 5 and 21. That's my favorite Bible verse of all time, simply because it says, test everything and show yourself approved. I saw that as permission. You know how many motherfuckers are scared to actually study this shit because they're scared to go deeper into it because they know it might change their mind? You feel me? I told somebody one time, go study the Council of Nicaea, NICAEA, if anybody want to study it. And they said verbatim, they said, if I study that, will it make me stop believing in Jesus? Nigga, it might. I don't know. But you feel me? It's gonna give you some light as to yo, this is they pimped us. Wow. For this long? Wow. But again, there's levels. You feel what I'm saying? So now tying it back to the stars, because that's where we was really at. When I seen certain aspects of my life happen, right? And just the experience, not even using the stars really, but I'm saying that because the stars set the tone for like everybody talks about, oh, my natal chart says I got to do this. Oh, we're gonna have a retrograde here. We're gonna have to do this. It's all about spirals. In your cycle, if you only stay one dimensional, you're gonna experience that dimension. Everybody I know there, because religion has made them experience life such a negative perspective, they automatically assume the worst. They carry that same energy into astrology, same energy into numerology, same energy into tarot, same energy into any esoteric science you can think of. So they create negative shit in their life. You dig what I'm saying? So when we're looking at it from that perspective, and it's like, I have broken down people's numerology numbers before, and like, yo, this is what your numbers are. Oh my gosh, it's so negative. That is so me. I am so. Did you not hear none of the positive shit that I said? That's how I know a motherfucker won't be able to positively spiral. Their cycle is going to cause them to spiral down in a negative way. They're going to only see the negative. When retrogrades hit, I get fucking excited. Everybody I know, oh my God. Only reason why I get mad when retrograde hit, because that bitch fuck with communication and technology and shit. My laptops and shit, my fucking Wi-Fi, all of that should be tripping. You feel what I'm saying? That's the only reason why I don't like it. But because I understand the retrograde, I don't give a fuck about it because it's like when that happens, I just adjust. I just adjust accordingly. I don't get mad and like, oh, this shit is really, likely to happen. Okay. You feel me? So it's like I don't really trip on it. But while everybody, oh, my ex is gonna come back. Oh, my ex is this, my ex that, I'm gonna be in this space. No, I don't worry about exes coming back. I don't worry about none of that shit because I understand how I'm spiraling with this energy. You're spiraling in an energy that brings your ex back. Because that's the only way you're gonna learn whatever lesson that retrograde is supposed to teach you. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's about the cycle for that experience. Like you don't find it coincidental that every situation that comes back is like, yo, all the exes come back because you got the same ex and you ain't learned the fucking lesson every time you got with them. Yeah, they different people. The presentation is different, but it's the same fucking spiral. You never spiraled up. So this is where the plot twist comes in because a lot of people be thinking they want somebody who's totally different from who they like. You're attracted to who you're attracted to. You feel me? Your cycle, the attractions that you have are rooted in. They're rooted there. How do you spiral them? You feel me? Women want bad boys at one phase of their life. Then the next phase, they want the masculine man. Same motherfucker. When you really look at it, it's the same motherfucker because it's the core principle what you really want. You want to be protected for and you want to be provided for. And you know bad boys can fight. Most bad boys always raising hell, but it's the attitude and the aggression that, but then you realize, oh, it's not controlled because you're spiraling in a different way. So you still attracted to that. The details of the spiral changing, you wonder why you can't get it right because you're not changing your spiral. You're not changing your cycle. That's already been set and programmed for you. Now you have to adjust it to the positive way. You feel me? I'm not even gonna use problems as the situation because I love bad bitches or whatever the case may be. But I will tie it into a deeper a deeper aspect to it, like quality over quantity. When I look at how many women that I've actually been with and shit, it wasn't much quality in the shit. Because my spiral for the type of, attraction that I was dealing with was like, yo, you feel me? Just fuck bitches, get money. You feel me? That's what it was for me. But now when we look at it from the whole other spectrum, the whole other side of it, it's like, oh nah, like motherfuckers be looking like, yo, why do like here's a part of the cycle, right? Niggas is like, yo, you always had girls, bro. I know. I know. I was cyclically, my cycle, the cycle for the type of my interaction with women is, I'm a ladies' man naturally. It's all in how I choose to spiral it. All you keep hearing is get into the markets, but do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? When I spiraled it down, I was a fuckboy. Now that I spiraled it up, I'm a king. Peace, king. Like, you feel me? It's all in the direction in which I chose. I can't change the cycle. You feel me? Now I can practice, and like when I'm talking to women, I can say, okay, nah, I chose to practice celibacy so I don't be wilding out just fucking. Like, I mean, it's the same energy. I can fluidly talk to women. It's not a problem, but it's just how I changed my spiral. Before my intention was to spiral down and say, I just want some pussy. Now it's like, no, I want to gain the world. Like I'm looking for somebody who can do something like certain shit. So your spiral changes, your energy changes, your circumstances changes. You have to change the direction of your motherfucking spiral. You can't break your cycles. I'm learning that. Like I had to actually see that shit. Like when I really look back, and because I be having conversations, I be made posts on social media. I'm like, yo, I'm breaking cycles out this bitch and shit. And it's like it's exhausting. I'm gonna tell you why it's exhausting because you can't break the cycle. You have to adjust the spiral and how the cycle is going. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like when I look at people like entrepreneurship and blah blah blah, it's like everybody can't do it because their cycle of actually making money, their cycle of obtaining wealth or whatever the case may be, is rooted in a certain way. Until they spiral it a different way, it ain't gonna work. You can talk to them till you blue in the face. They could be motivated. They have to internally change their spiral. You feel what I'm saying? They have to internally change a spiral, which now ties into Soul 3 when I talk about the mind and belief. The way you gain knowledge, which helps you direct your spiral, is to get through the wall of cognitive dissonance. You feel me? I know people right now who believe money is the evil. And that's not even the verse. The verse is the root of money is the for the root of money is the no, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Right? They're like, money's evil. Damn, nigga, you just left out so many words of that shit. Now, remember that conversation I was just talking about being spellbound and shit, and how motherfuckers can say that's why words are important. You didn't even cast the right spell when you uttered love is the root, the love of money is the root of all evil. No, it's money is the root of all evil. So no, it's for the love of money is the root of all evil. That entire sentence you need to understand. You feel me? Because now when you put that in perspective, it's like, oh, I love money. I this, that, and the third. But then you got to realize money's an energy. That context was speaking in the sense of, oh, this is the paper. Idolizing the paper is wrong. True. Don't fucking like I need to understand the energy. Understand the energy and you always have money. When I teach day trading and shit, like people be thinking, oh, it's too complex because you think money is stagnant. You think money is static. You don't understand the energy of money. Money is it's called currency for a reason. What do you call when a river flows? The current. What do you call when electricity flows? The current. Why the fuck is money called a currency? Because it has to flow. You feel what I mean? It has to flow. Now, how it flows is dependent upon how it flows for you is dependent upon your spiral. So when I look at day trading, it's like, yo, this energy is moving every single day, every single month, every single minute. Like right now, I'm in the whole I'm in a trade right motherfucking now and shit. And it's doing kind of what I anticipated it was going to do, as you know, it should. But the reality of it is that it's energy. It's the current of two energies. For example, the trade at this particular time of this recording, I'm in is Euro USD. Euro is weak, USD is stronger, or whatever. So I'm going with that. So now when I put these two energies together, if I put a weak energy with a strong energy, the strong energy is supposed to win. It's simple, really. Like dead ass serious. Like I know. I can make it seem like it's complex, but it's really not. It's like the weak energy versus the strong energy, right? Which way is it going to go? It's going to go in favor of the strong energy, right? So because euro's on the left side, US dollar is on the right side, and it's like literally like a graph, like a chart. We know XY, you know the XY plots that we learned in school. I've never used this shit in the real world. I and this was the basic shit too. It ain't like calculus. Like it's just X and Y on a chart. You feel me? So when a euro is weak and a US dollar is stronger, it's going to push the euro down. Simple. You just got to wait for the better price for when it's agreed upon that we're going to sell it again. You feel what I'm saying? That's the energy movement. You feel me? That's the energy movement. It's how well the currencies are going to move against each other. Now, when you have two currencies that are the same in strength, they're both telling you that we're going to buy, you're going to get a range. You feel what I'm saying? The energy is the same. The top and the bottom, you got to know where the top is, know where the bottom is. You could trade or you could invest in a range. You feel what I'm saying? If two currencies are weak, equally weak, it's gonna be the same shit. You just have to leverage how the energy is being moved. You feel what I'm saying? That was a cycle, a spiral that I had to change. I used to believe and have that spiral moving that money is the root of all evil. Like money is evil. No, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Then that made me change my perspective because I ain't never seen a motherfucker who love money wild the fuck out. I seen motherfuckers who lack it wild the fuck out. You feel what I'm saying? Which crazy because just uttering for the love of money is the root of all evil puts us in a lack mentality, which triggers the evil. You feel me? A motherfucker who had it never stole. Like, you feel me? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's right fucking there. It's all in how you choose to address the cycle. So when I changed that perspective, is I couldn't change my interaction with money. I need money to live. I need money to pay rent. You gotta pay rent. You gotta pay fucking. You gotta get clothes, groceries, and everything. Like you need money on. And you got literal motherfuckers telling you money is fake. It's fiat currency. It doesn't matter, dude. It's not gonna count. It's gonna crumble. The dollar's weak. Blah blah blah. They're telling you that, but it's active right fucking now. Keep listening to these motherfuckers that keep telling you that money ain't real. It's an illusion. It may be an illusion. It may not be real, but at this particular moment, the fucking energy is fluidly flowing. And you believe that it's evil if you get it. Like, no, motherfucker be like, yo, you gonna gain the whole world and lose your soul. Why can't you keep it? Again, this is the part like that verse and this right here is like it perfectly ties into the spiral shit. Now, I think it was probably one of the last episodes. This is why I say I don't argue with people about stupid shit no more. To me, everything is stupid now because it's, you know, it's relative to the experiencer, in my opinion. So it's like when a motherfucker asks me why I do something, now I just ask him why not. I literally in real time, I'm showing you that we're on a different spiral. Like our cycle is the same because we're actually talking about the same thing. I'm spiraling a different way than you. That's it. You feel me? I'm making a conscious choice to spiral a different way than you because I have the knowledge base and I have the understanding to make the choice to accept or reject something. And I now control my spiral because I couldn't break my cycles. You feel me? I can't break the fact that I'm in a not so supremacist society structure that has not fallen yet. How am I gonna bring it down? By changing the direction of my spiral. You feel what I'm saying? I was looking at some Jim Crow laws. I ain't really look them up, but I came across them. And one of the laws are like, yo, one of the laws, like this was illegal to do. There's two specifically, but you know, well, there's like five that I came across. But these two specifically were like, one was you cannot imply in any way, shape, or form that white people are lying. Nigga. That then tied into how people be like, yo, don't call such and such a liar, say they telling stories. No, that's a fucking lie. You feel me? But it ties into that shit. And then the other thing was that really hit my soul. It hurt me a lot because I didn't realize that this was a law. But then I realized that a lot of the shit that our ancestors were subjugated to not too long ago, and some of them ain't even ancestors, yo, just the elders, bro, that they were subjected to. And it was do not, you cannot positively greet black people in public. that shit threw me for a loop because I'm like, damn, is that why I unconsciously mean mug niggas every time I see them? You dig what I'm saying? Is that why I'm always in a space where, I'm prepared to fight? You feel me? Or I'm looking at my black people, my brothers and shit as opposition. I had to change that spiral. You feel me? That was a spiral that I had to change for myself. You feel me? Because I had to look at it from, hey, bro, this ain't normal, my nigga. Like, this ain't normal, but this is Jim Crow shit. This is shit that we had to operate from, that our ancestors had to operate from, that are in our Akashic records, that we don't have to change because the cycle is still there. You feel me? The cycle is still there. But you have to realize and you have to adjust and move according to certain ways in which you can control the spiral. Controlling and directing the spiral is very, very impactful to change to utilizing the energy that a cycle is like put on you. You know, like they say, I ain't changed the hand I was there. I switched my cards. You feel what I'm saying? That's it. You're not leaving the poker table. It's still poker. It's like, all right, cool. Let me change how I'm gonna play with these cards. You feel what I'm saying? It's like this spiral shit, this cyclic shit, like breaking it is hard because there's so many layers to the cycles that we as black people have been involved in. And now, when you look at how long we've been in a state of insanity, insanity is continuing to do the same. Like this whole Biden election, all of this shit, like all of the shit Biden has done in the last 2 years, it's like, nigga, they've been doing this to us since presidents were presidents. Why are y'all shocked? Biden didn't come through on his promise to give money to HBCUs. He cut the funding. Biden, they're somehow they pulled more money out for war to go find it, and they just printed money off and blah blah blah. They do this all the fucking time. Why are y'all shocked? This happens every 4 fucking years. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is not anything new. Your perception of how you perceive it is new. Is what is causing the issue. You're spiraling according to a different perspective. There's us who are spiraling off the details, and there's us who are spiraling off of the principles. The principles are a lot stronger because they're not changing. It's like, oh, y'all, you feel what I'm saying? Like, nigga, nothing has changed. Nothing. That's where the insanity comes in because you can't break a cycle you didn't create. That's the final piece to this shit. You cannot break a cycle that you didn't create. You can only maneuver in the cycle that is, part of it. Like they're like, yo, we in the Matrix. You feel me? Every Matrix movie, watch how powerful the parts are. It was like they keep going back into the Matrix. And the purpose of going back into the Matrix is you have to understand the programming of the Matrix to go back in. Now you have to rewrite the code, make the code do something different. But you got the power to do that. That's the whole thing Neo was doing every time. I'm going to rewrite the code. Here's the code that they have on you, but I'm going to rewrite this motherfucker for you. You feel me? And in rewriting this motherfucker, we're going to ensure that you can stay out of it and come back at will. But a lot of people can't do that shit. Like, this is one of the things why when I talk about how the conscious community, like, they started this conscious shit as a belief system. You feel me? A lot of motherfuckers were just hurt. Like, they knew that religion was failing. They knew that they couldn't get no peace with it. It was driving them crazy and all this other shit. A lot of people had that cuss. Some people, and a lot of people think it's the church. That's one of the biggest parts about the whole cycle as a whole. They made the church such a cornerstone in the community that you'll still be tied to the religion because the church is bullshit. Not realizing that the whole religion is like this. It's not just the church. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so we stay out of the church. We're like, yo, everybody in there is fake. Which preceded which? Why are the people fake if they're only emulating what they've learned and gotten out of this religion? And it's like, nah, they not really using the religion the right way or whatever the case may be. How you know? That's what I always get with people. Tell me the right way to use it. If this is the one thing, this is the definitive law, there should only be one. There should not be context. You dig what I'm saying? There should not be multiple derivations of how to exhibit this shit. But you choose to, according to your cycle, how you're going to spiral according to this information. You feel me? Like I said, this is why it's important that you got to pay attention to what your pastor preaches. Most pastors don't preach out the whole Bible. They only teach about the positive, passive shit. Why you think now the government has a 501c3 attached to all churches, mosques, and any kind of religious gatherings that you cannot teach anything or you cannot go and do anything that goes against the government? If we know the government is wicked and we know that our religion is supposed to be good, how the two can go hand in hand with each other and we don't argue about the shit? Because if the motherfucking government really was, if the motherfucking government is as wicked as it is, and you need a 501c3 for funding for the religion or whatever the case may be to use it and to not have to pay taxes and shit, how do these two things work together? Because if the government, if the religion itself was actually liberating you and going against the government, going against what the government stood on to actually liberate you, the government would shut it down. It's literally written in the whole bylaw shit of what a 501c3 stands for. So at some point, you got to just be honest with yourself and say, I believe. I don't understand what the fuck is going on because it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. If religion really was about liberating your spirit and actually making you a good person and shit like that, the government would have shut that shit down a long time ago. But they give you the religions to keep you in a space where it's like, okay, now these motherfuckers, okay, some people just ain't gonna go to church no more. And that's cool. You feel me? But it's like you're always gonna be tied to this shit. And you're always gonna spiral according to how we want you to spiral. We're gonna make sure that it's been embedded on how you're supposed to get. Like, for example, I hear all the time, you know, deity is good all the time, and all the time deity is good. But as soon as you point out something that the deity did that wasn't good, oh, well, they can do that. Well, that negates your whole principle. They're not good all the time. So now, when your cycle is tied to that, and the bad shit happens in your life, and it's like, well, my deity wouldn't do that. Now you see the delusion and the shit and where it comes in because it's like, now who do you give credit and blame to? Because the shit changes when you get out of the situation. You feel me? When you finally decide to spiral a different way from where you're going, you change your circumstance. That's all. You dig what I'm saying? One of my favorite shows, and this is right here, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I love Snowfall, and I got put onto it by one of my best friends. She hit me up and was like, "Yo, bro, I need you to watch Snowfall." I said, "The fuck for, bro?" She said, "Yo, Franklin is you." Nigga, that ain't me, nigga. I'm me. The fuck? She said, "Yo, if you would have stayed in the streets, if you would have followed behind the trappers and the drug dealers and all that shit, she said you would have been Franklin. Watch the show and see what I'm talking about." I'm like, man, whatever, man. Ain't no motherfucking me. I watched Snowfall. And as I'm in season 5, it's getting scarier and scarier because it's almost like, damn, I did that exact same shit he's doing from a different perspective. I spiraled differently. Same route, same circumstance, same um energetic space that we were in that made us want to become what we are. We just spiraled differently. You feel what I'm saying? Our principles, our core principles, generational wealth, helping the people, the financial freedom, taking back what was stolen from us and shit, like making ourselves equal in this disproportionate game by any means necessary. He chose to sell crack. I chose to write books and do all the other shit that I did. But the cycle is the same shit. You feel me? So as I'm watching that show, I'm like, damn, it didn't hit me till like season 4. I was like, yo, if I really would have stayed in the streets. No, I'm not even gonna say stayed in the streets because I'm not even gonna put that all on myself like it was all me. If my big cousin would have never told me to get the fuck out the trap house, I would have been that. You feel me? And I'm not saying that for dramatic effect, but like, you know what I'm saying, to be on some, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, no. And that would have led to me either being dead or in jail or some shit like that. Because when I say I was so calculated with the shit, I was far beyond. I would have had the big homies pushing for me. I would have had the big homies moving for me because they didn't know how I had, my mind was so advanced, even at that age, that I was running circles around these niggas, yo. Mentally. Mentally, I was running circles around. I was out thinking these motherfuckers. Like, I was 12 years old and shit doing their college homework. I don't know, bully shit. Like, you feel me? Do my homework and shit. It was like, yo, help me do this. And I didn't even know how to do the fucking shit. And I actually broke it down. While when I struggle with my homework, you feel me? This was crazy because, like, if I struggle with my homework at the time and I bring it to them, I ain't never do that. But they will bring me to theirs and I solve it. You dig what I mean? So I was like, man, I've been running these motherfuckers, bro. I would have flipped them. Like, I was, pick their brain and shit, entrepreneurship and shit. Like, yo, How you re-up? Like when you re-up, like what it mean? What you do when you re-up? And blah blah blah. I'm going over these different dynamics and shit. And so seeing it from that perspective was like, okay, I got to spiral differently. Because this is also why I talk about the difference between influence and manipulation. Not many people, address that shit. They were like, influence and manipulation. What is it? Same shit. You feel me? Same shit. The only difference is intention. It's easy to manipulate a motherfucker, just as easy to influence a motherfucker. I just chose to spiral in a different way. I couldn't break the cycle of being an influencer. I could not break the cycle of having that power to convince people to do something. But it's like, yo, what now, nigga? What the fuck am I gonna convince you to do? Cause this is like, yeah, no, I can't do that. You feel me? But to the core of it, it taught me a lot. And as I said, I went through these lives and shit, and I started experiencing certain shit, and I really got locked in to say, yo, it's all a choice. I can't change the cycle, but I can change the spiral in which I'm directing with the shit. They told me going through the education system is the only way you'll actually be a thinker. Like they convinced us that being, well educated means, having a degree and shit means that you're smart. It wasn't until I left that shit alone. I got the degree, but I'm significantly smarter without it. The shit that I've learned outside of this, I didn't get that shit from school. You feel me? It's different. It's hot, but this is what they taught you to do with your intelligence. You feel me? I was always taught my intelligence, use it to make another motherfucker rich. Nobody ever told me to use it to make myself rich. Why the fuck was that the case? Why in the fuck was that the case? Like, you feel me? Like real shit. Like motherfuckers is on some shit on some time. Like, yo, you were you're smart. Like, yo, go get you a good job. Mm. Mm. I refused. I said no. I'm gonna go create. Like I broke that shit. It's time for me to create shit. I stand leagues above motherfuckers. And I don't know arrogant type shit. But as far as like leadership goes, as far as like qualities and skills that I have a lot of skills that stand above like every job that I've always worked in, I was always too big for the motherfucker. It didn't matter what level I went to because I said, I'm not supposed to be at this level. Never knew the shit because my spiral, you feel me, according to the cycle of how I had to get money and quote unquote be successful, had already been programmed for me. The white man ain't gonna let you have nothing. You feel me? You're gonna have to give up so much of your culture to be successful. You feel me? I used to have braids, motherfucker. Yo, you're gonna have to cut your hair. Why? Cause you know what I'm saying? They were like, cut that nappy mess. Like, there's like a whole bunch of shit that was like, yo, feel me? Like now when people say, yo, you gotta be professional, I already know what it means. You gotta make white people comfortable. I spiraled out of that shit. No, I'm professional by my skill set. I don't want to be professional by how well I articulate. I'm mastered that shit. Like I said, I had a whole situation in undergrad where me and my homegirl we had our project and shit. I bullshitted the whole answer, but I sound good with it. You feel me? I ain't about to that was professional. Still have my tie and shit. Now I don't do that shit. I prefer professionalism off proficiency. I'm a professional by skill set for everything that I do now. Niggas can't fuck with me in the shit that I'm talking about. I'm a professional trader, not because I can tell you how to break. Oh, you got to use Fibonacci and all this shit. No, bro. Like you clearly just seen the shit. I ain't have to mention Fibonacci. Nothing. I was like, yo, bro, it's two energies going against each other. You got to figure out how they work. That's it. Buy low, sell high. Simple shit, bro. It's a whole simple process. You feel me? Motherfuckers make it harder than it has to be because the society has said this is out of your reach. Society has literally taught us that fucking generational wealth, prosperity, all of this shit is out of our reach. We're supposed to suffer. And they're right if we believe that they're right. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't perceive none of that shit that they talking about. Like, people be asking me, like, yo, why do you say certain shit the way you say it? Cause, right? It's just, I don't give a fuck. But people think I don't give a fuck in the fact that I'm reckless and careless. And no, it's like, I don't give a fuck because I choose to accept or reject this shit. You feel me? I reached a level of understanding with all things that I experience myself with. So at that point, it becomes a choice. Do I spiral up with this or do I spiral down with it? Relationships, I always had a choice to, you feel me? Like, it's like, yo, do I continue to spiral down? Do I get the fuck out of here so we can spiral up? That's why I changed my perspective from falling in love to rising in love. You dig me? I changed my perspective from falling in love to rising in love because it was like, damn, everybody's falling in love and the relationships don't work no more. You feel me? On some A. Marie shit. Why don't we fall in love? I'm dramatic. I know. But yeah, that's how the shit plays itself out. You dig what I mean? We looking at it from a perspective of, hmm, does it really work this way? And you gotta ask yourself, does it? Because what it's gonna do, if you don't learn how to fully spiral and control the spiral, you'll never get out of the cycle. And you can't get out of the cycle because it's like people be like, well, you just said that the cycle, if the cycle, you can't break the cycle, you're gonna change the spiral because you didn't create the cycle. But when you can adjust the cycle, when you can adjust the spiral, now you can start to substitute that very thing. You feel what I'm saying? And get into a space to put the right things into your life. You know, shit ain't it ain't hard. It ain't hard at all. It comes off hard. I'm not even gonna hold you. It does come off hard because it's like, how do you do it? This is one of those things where they be like, yo, do the work. You feel me? Do the work. And it's like, what is the work? That's all in Sofer 3. Sofer 3, I pretty much I gave my soul to y'all so I can be like, yo, bro, y'all need to, this is some of the shit that I've done that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and I didn't just do it like, you know what I'm saying? Because I noticed that there was like a lot of woke people who were on some type time, like, um, yeah, I do this, that, and the third because blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bruh, like, why? What do you do it for? Like, and do you do it well? Can you tell somebody else how to do the shit? You feel me? And it was rarely a moment where a motherfucker could say, yeah, I know how to do it. So I'm going to make sure the people around me do as well. You feel me? That's when the problematic piece comes into it because it's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. You feel me? It's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. That that whole reality that we're living in right now is about you can't break the cycle till the first you change the spiral because when you can I'm gonna say it like this: when you learn how to manipulate the cycle, the spiral, then you can see where the cycle starts and ends. Until then, you're just hacking away at shit because you don't really know shit about shit. Like I knew poverty was a cycle that I had to break, right? But I didn't understand how poverty was a thing first until I changed the spiral of how I viewed money. And then I said, oh, that's the cycle. Now I can break it. You got to master the spirals first before you can break the cycle. And again, I know it's contradictory. You said you can't break a spiral. You can't break a spiral that you did not create, right? I mean, you can't break a cycle that you did not create. But when you understand the spiral from both directions, you know where it's like a master link on a bike. The master link on a bike chain. There's one link that keeps it all together, and there's one link that separates it all, right? If you don't understand that concept of a master link, you're not going to be able to go through and say, hey, my chain can be fixed here. My chain can be broken here. You feel me? Rather, you're just like, yo, I got to keep my chain on my bike. You feel me? It's subtle shit that is just as powerful as that. So then when you see the cycle that's imposed, because now you're able to move, this is why I talk about the antithesis. You feel me? It's in Soul 3, the belief. To overcome belief, you have to study the antithesis of a thing. You can't just reaffirm your belief because that makes your spiral stay one dimensional. Now, when your spiral goes from both sides, now you make the choices like, nigga, I can choose what I do with this particular energy. That's why that phrase, like, motherfuckers used to ask me, like, yo, what is it like? Motherfuckers really, because I don't fuck with the religion and shit, but they don't realize why I don't fuck with it. They'll ask me, like, yo, you a devil worshiper and shit. Like, what is the man to gain this whole world and lose his soul? That's why I ask them now. What's the gain? What's the man to gain the whole world and keep it? My soul's intact. My essence is intact. I can't be bought. Can't nobody do shit to me. Like if a motherfucker, oh, we're canceling. You can't cancel shit. You can't cancel me. You feel me? I don't give a fuck. Like you stop nothing if you decide to be, you know what I'm saying, on some cancel shit. Like I've never been canceled or shit like that, but I don't care. Like motherfuckers be like, yo, you got if your bag is on Instagram, whatever the case may be, what you gonna do if they shut Instagram do? I've been asked like, what you gonna do if they shut Instagram down? Fuck you want me to do? It ain't mine. Fuck, I'm a riot and go crazy. Oh my gosh, Instagram is down. I don't give a fuck. Now just do without it. Well, how you gonna make I that shit is done shit. Like you feel me? My book's still gonna be on Amazon. My book's still gonna be on Barnes and Noble. My book's still gonna be in my store. My courses, all of that shit, still gonna be on my website, which is alive and viable. It's not on me if the motherfuckers don't want to come there. My podcast still gonna be running unless they shut that shit down. But again, if they shut that shit down, so be it. What you gonna do if they shut your YouTube channel down? Let them shut it down. Like, what the fuck you want me to do? You feel me? Motherfuckers be posting shit and they be like, yo, you be like, whenever I used to get guideline posts and shit, I'm like, yo, you violated our community guidelines. I'm like, oh shit. I make a joke out of it. Oh damn, I did. I fuck with y'all shit, bro. Cause it's like I can't come to your house and disrespect you in your house and get mad if you kick me out or get mad if you tell me I gotta leave. The fuck? But again, that's a part of that spiral shit. You feel me? One of those cycles that ties into that when people get wrapped up in, oh, social media, this, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. You feel entitled. You have a cycle of entitlement. So, you know what I mean? I feel like personally that comes from the assimilation because as black people, we got our sense of it. Never mind. But motherfucker be like, yo, you feel like you can, oh, I got my second amendment, my freedom of speech shit. And this is a part of, like I said, you got to understand the antithesis and you got to understand more than what you believe in. Well, I got my First Amendment. I got freedom of speech in a public forum. That's like on the street. Like you can't be on somebody's platform that has terms and fucking conditions that y'all don't fucking read and get mad when they hold you accountable for the terms and conditions. That's fucked up. All of these people violating, doing X, Y, and Z, and they page is still running. Hey, this is their system. How in the fuck can we spread videos of black people dying because they've already created the cycle of this shit? Everybody likes seeing black people die, except black people. Well, no, I say that again. Everybody likes black people, seeing black people die. Black people just don't like seeing black people die at the hands of white people. I know it got real. It got real, but we got to keep it 100 with it. We got to keep it 100 with it. We like seeing black death. You feel me? We just don't like it when it's at the hands of another of a different person, a different race. But when it's at the hands of us and shit, it's different. We don't give a fuck. We really don't. Like the family that's grieving does, but everybody else is like, niggas is niggas. You feel me? Perpetuate the cycle. Because now we can look at the spiral of how this is black on black crime. There's no other crime like that. Nobody else talks about crime, and it's really crimes of proximity, but they're like, oh, this is black on. You never hear anything about white on white crime, Asian on Asian crime. But you'll watch a whole movie, a Yakuza movie, where Asians kill Asians. You watch a mob movie where Italians kill Italians. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, that's technically like, no, it's like, that's the get this proximity, bro. You're gonna fuck with who you fuck with, therefore you'll kill who you kill. The fuck? But again, everybody likes seeing black death. Everybody likes seeing black death. But black people just no longer like seeing other people inflicted. And I get it. Everybody know I don't like seeing black death. Listen to you. Let me see your music. If your music has shoot this nigga, chopper, all of that crazy shit in it too, you like black death. I can't front about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's programming. It's the cycle that we didn't create for ourselves. Now, how do you choose to use the spiral? You feel me? I'm going to switch that a little bit because I've always rapped. When I was a rapper, I used to rap about killing motherfuckers. And I intentionally, like when I used to talk about like, I shoot this nigga. I remember I battled this heavyset dude. I said, I pulled a chop. It takes inches off your waist like a tummy tuck, nigga. Like, because he was fat. It made sense. It was a punchline and shit. And it was like, why did I just kill this man? In my head, I just killed this black man. Like, you feel me? Not only with that bar, but with like 18 other bars after that. It was kill, 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 kill. Fuck your bitch, kill, kill, kill. And that's how we listen to. You feel me? So, like I said, our cycle is about, black death. And we haven't spiraled much out of that. It's fucked up and it seems crazy, but like, yo, legit, we have not spiraled that high out of that yet. You feel me? We just haven't. And it ties to the fact of not knowing where the cycle comes in. You feel me? When you can tell somebody, yo, I still use it because I realize what I gotta do. You feel me? I can't spiral out of shit. Case in point, I'm gonna use this right here and I'm gonna try to wrap it up with this because we was talking about Jesus and shit, right? Jesus won't never with religious motherfuckers. You feel what I'm saying? Jesus was in the streets, my nigga. Jesus is from the projects. Look, when you actually read the shit, look at the context. They were like, yo, he's a Nazarene. They was calling a nigga project baby, bro. He's a Nazarene, born of a single mother. You feel me? We ain't gonna get into that story. But like, look at the context of it. He's a Nazarene. They made that impactful. He's a Nazarene. Like, yeah, I'm a Nazarene, bitch. What the fuck? Got me fucked up. You feel me? But who do you always see him with? The heathens. And as he said it in his own words, he was like, you know what? I'm not here for. He's like, if the doctor, if the person is sick, you know what I'm saying? Like, the doctor doesn't come to healthy people, motherfucker. So it's like, I'm saying that because I hear, the belief, yo, we got to stop saying nigga to each other because you feel me? That shows we cool. We can see that as ourselves. That's your vibrational spiral. You reach the point where you understand the cycle and the damage that the word nigga has on you. Some people don't. Some people don't. So when I talk profanity, and nigga comes out like, oh, you woke, you ain't supposed to use that. I know that shit, but I'm talking to my niggas. I'm talking to my niggas. I'm talking to my brothers too. I'm talking to my sisters too, but I'm also talking to my niggas as well because my niggas still need me too. You feel me? What good is it if I stay in this motherfucking woke air bubble and shit and I'm up here and I stay up here and I can't come down and interact with the people when I was once there? That's what a lot of motherfuckers do. You feel me? Because they don't understand the cycle. They're like, I just got to disconnect from shit and detach from shit. It's like, nah, you got to go where you called. I know where I'm called and I know who I'm supposed to be interacting with now. This ties into the mastery of the shit. This is why I do a podcast because I can't go to those places no more. You might still need my message. You might still need me to break it down the way that I break it down shit, but I can't go to your environment no more. And I don't know fearful shit, but my spiral for that cycle is different. I can't go back there anymore and not be comfortable. Like, you feel me? Like, I can't come back there and not have a positive impact. And because of that, if I know that I'm going into a negative spiral, that's a negated situation for me. No matter how hard I try, it will always negate itself. You feel what I'm saying? Because the spirals are different based off of the same cycle. We got to get to that point of understanding that. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like when, like I said, tying it back, like, oh, yo, you got to stop saying nigga. Say naga. Say nigga. It's like, no, nigga. The fuck? I'm going to say nigga to the niggas that I'm talking to. Because they my niggas. Our cycle with that word nigga has not, they have not predicated the way that we have is where, oh, nigga came from this, that, and the third. And it's a racial, it is. It's bad. Now, this is the same perspective that if you're watching Bel Air, Carlton is exhibiting. He let the white dude just call him nigga in front of, like, he's sitting there, he's rapping to that Bobby Shmurda shit saying nigga, and Will had to come in like, yo, Carlton, what the fuck? He says, just the word. It's not. His cycle and his association with that word is the problem. Therefore, when you look at his spiral is different. You dig what I'm saying? And it's different in context with white people. Yes, we have one spiral and one cycle that is alive and well with nigga that is associated with black people. We have a totally different experience with everybody else. You dig what I mean? And it's our inability to accept that experience that we like, yo, it's how do I change it? So it's like you have those people, it's like, yo, we got to take the power out of the word. You feel me? And now I get that shit now that I'm older. You feel me? Oprah was like, you can't take the power of the word and blah, blah, blah. She had Jay-Z on the shit. Like, yeah, we got to agree to disagree. Because Jay-Z, contrary to a lot of the other fuck shit that he's done or whatever the case may be, if you view it like that, Jay-Z's still one of my favorite rappers and shit. But as a person, other shit than that is like, yo, I listen to him because he called me his nigga. You feel me? I'm his nigga. Like, you feel what I'm saying? I'm more susceptible to listen to a motherfucker who's like, yo, you my nigga. Like, you see what I'm saying? Because I grew up in a culture and I grew up in a cycle where my niggas been my niggas. So now I got to change the energy on how I infuse that shit. So now I'm giving my niggas the game. I'm telling my niggas about, trading and investing. I'm telling my niggas about masculinity on a whole different level. I'm telling my niggas about this shit. I'm not coming to them on a holier than now type shit. Now, wait, let me say this. So frail can only be written that way. So it's like when I talk, this is why I have so frail conversations, because I understand the depths of the shit that I put in that book. A lot of motherfuckers can get it. This is not to say that my homies, they ain't smart enough, whatever the case may be, but I understand the cycles. These conversations that we had, the vocal conversation that we had is going to get you to say, okay, let me check the book out. You feel me? This is why it's like everybody who listens to the conversation doesn't necessarily read the books, but everybody who has read the books will listen to the conversations. You feel what I'm saying? And it's because the shit go hand in hand. You feel me? But it all comes in to the point that I identified the cycle and I chose to change the spiral. You feel me? I could have been on some shit like, you feel me? Look at I'm gonna end with this. Look at the context of how all of these men are. The high value shit and everything like that. And I'm stand on this shit. We're all speaking from a perspective of masculinity. I'm the only motherfucker who spiraled up. Everybody else spirals down. And don't forget to check out Pala Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Pala Cafe Clothing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. And yes, I did end with a fucking horn toot. I don't give a fuck. But I on some real shit. I'm the only one talking about masculinity and embodying masculinity and doing the things that I do the way that I do it. Everybody's talking about masculinity, but what does it come out to? High value menness, bitches ain't shit. These women is like all of that shit is like my perspective. I'm telling y'all, fuck with women, bro. I'm encouraging my brothers like, yo, fucking women, bro. You'll find yourself better like when you start interacting with women. I'm telling them to, excuse me, elevate, vibe up, all of this other shit. I say tighten up, gods. I say that shit because I understand the cycle. The cycle is the masculinity. You feel me? The upward spiral is divine masculinity. The downward spiral is toxic masculinity. So when you look at the Kevin Samuels, catty, argumentative man, put that shit in So Frail too. Toxic femininity. You feel me? When you look at the Derrick Jacksons and shit, that is the emotionally unavailable. The emotionally, no, I'm gonna say he's emotionally retarded because emotions you have to be able. And I put this in So Frail 3 as far as I want to say it's the rites of passage or maybe the protecting the provider. I mentioned when you're protecting the provider, you have to protect for her physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Who the fuck else is talking like that? But we're all talking about masculinity or the perception we have of masculinity. My spiral is different. My spiral is different. So now when people come to me, oh, this is for you. That's why you always beat. That's why the women always fucking with you because blah, 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 blah. It's like, yo, they know what's real. You feel me? But this is that in the same token. And this is when I had a homie. Well, he wasn't really a homie, but he was a traveler and shit. He on my Instagram and shit. He was like, why is it that you can say that? He said, if I said the same shit that you just said, women be all down my throat. But why is it that you can say it and it be all good? Because our spirals are different. Women know what place I'm coming from. When I tell women to get their shit together, they literally know I'm talking to them like they are my sister and not a bitch off the street. You feel me? I remember I had made one post. This was funny as hell because it's like when I made that post, it was about accountability on women's behalf or whatever the case may be. Women, y'all need to do X, Y, and Z. And my caption was, "Got the edges, didn't it?" You feel what I'm saying? The women on my page who fuck with the message and shit. It was a positive message, but it was like some accountability shit. But my caption was, "Got the edges, didn't it?" They busted out laughing. We had a good time, and they was able to receive it because they was like they saw the brother. The little brother, the big brother that was like, yo, you just had to add that part in there, laughing, kiki, and all of that other shit. But it did what it was supposed to do. My caption didn't say, yeah, you stupid bitches. This is what the fuck y'all need to tighten up on and work on. That's what y'all niggas be doing. You feel me? I just create I've been learning this new shit with fucking leveraging fucking different social media platforms, right? So I found this Kevin Samuels TikTok and shit. He was arguing with his woman and she was like, well, you do something. She was like, you are something with women or whatever the case may be. He was like, cause your mama, and hung up on her. And I simply put catty argumented a man. And I put a thing of So Frail 2 at the back of that, right? It hit. Because it's like, see, this is what we deal with. This is what we have to evolve to. You feel what I'm saying? It's the spiral. You feel me? The cycle's the same. The cycle is the perception of masculinity. It's not even masculinity itself. It's our perception of masculinity because masculinity ain't here. You feel me? That's why I said you have to define it first. And I defined it first and I went on and elaborated, right? So now when we look at how the cycles are working, tying it back to the homie who was like, yo, how come? Because it's like, I don't be cussing women out. I don't be like on some other shit like that. Like, you feel me? Like, I really like women. I really do. Like the actual being. I don't just like pussy. And that's the problem. A lot of y'all just like pussy and shit. And y'all, because y'all just like pussy, y'all will, if you can't get pussy, then you mad. Nigga. See what I gotta say, nigga, sometimes? You feel what I'm saying? Like these niggas is wild. Like, you feel me? But at the core of it and at the height of it, it's like it's all derived on how our spirals are different. And because our spirals are different, but I used to spiral in their space, this is why I can reach some of my brothers and shit because it's like, I've been you. You just never been me. Not on no sense of who I am. It's like, yo, you never been up here yet. Let me show you. Come on. Then I start spiraling niggas up there, and it's like, bro, you feel me? Like, yo, this shit different. Oh yeah. You feel me? I had one of my homies and shit. Like I gotta give him his flowers. I watched this young man develop into a solid man. Like, you feel me? A solid man. His son was just born. You feel me? But I watched him develop into a solid man. And he called me for some advice. Some relationship advice, whatever the case may be. And he was like, yo, bro, like, you feel me? Like, should I just dead it and walk away? I was like, the situation was about fulfillment. He was like, yo, should I just dead it and walk away? His lady, and this is what I respected about their dynamic so much. She told him, I'm gonna be unfulfilled. If I don't have a job or whatever the case may be. His mindset was a lot like mine. His mindset was a lot like mine. I ain't even gonna hold you. So when he said it, he was like, yeah, bro, I'm trying to lock this shit down. He said, I want her to be here with my kid and blah, 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 da, da, da. So as I'm explaining it to him, he's seeing his perspective. He's seeing his like, but I wouldn't be the big homie I was if I wouldn't tell him the other side. I'm like, bro, an unfulfilled woman can't raise your baby. He was like, yo. I said, think about the elders. Think about how many women say, yo, but I got my kids, but talk about how much of their dreams they gave up. You feel me? If you watch Bel Air, that is the situation that is happening with Aunt Viv and Hillary. Like the new Bel Air, that like the new Fresh Prince and shit, the Bel Air, it's like that is the new reality that is happening with Aunt Viv and Hillary. Aunt Viv used to be an artist and shit. She's unfulfilled because she gave up her passion and her purpose for her kids. You feel me? For her husband, for all of this shit, she gave that shit up. I told him, I was like, yo, bro, even if y'all don't work, if she's still unfulfilled, it's gonna fuck up the dynamic of how she gonna raise your baby. I said, you gotta make sure, give her that fulfillment, bro. He's like, it's not on, and I told him, like, it's not on you to dictate the entire situation. Y'all gotta y'all gotta dictate the situation together. I'm like, yo, you lucky. I'm like, yo, keep it real with him. I'm like, yo, you got a real one, bro. She told you what she needs to be fulfilled. Most women don't say that shit. Not loudly and shit. They I just wish I had more of this. I wish I could do this. Life just, but I got my kids. You don't want to be 40 talking like that. You don't want to be 40 hearing your lady say that shit to you. 40, 50 years old. I'm not there, but I'm just saying. So the point that I was making, I showed him a different spiral. I showed him a different spiral. I'm like, yo, give her that space, bro. She needs to be fulfilled. He was like, bro, I promise you just put shit in different perspective for me. He said, you do that shit every time. He was like, but I get it. I say, at this point, y'all gotta look at the bigger picture. It's not even about y'all no more. It's about a kid. It's about a baby. How y'all gonna work together? If she's telling you, I need to be fulfilled to be a mother. You feel me? Let her do what she needs to do to be fulfilled. When she has her fill and she's filled and her cup is like, because that's the thing. When she feels fulfilled, she fills the cup. And she can pour something out. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's the different spiral. You feel me? I could have been on some, man, yo, fuck that bitch, bro. Look, bro, go get your money right, stack your paper, you feel me, and just fight for custody. No, there's too much separation there because you gotta look at the baby. You feel me? You gotta look at the baby. And shit, after that conversation and shit, like, yo, his perspective was changing. That's what it was supposed to be. That's the whole different dynamic of a different spiral. You feel what I'm saying? I always know that I gotta go to a different spiral most times when I'm talking to people. Because it's like, yo, you can't just be stuck in this one space. I always bring the antithesis to people. I don't want you to believe what I'm telling you or believe in your no, get all of the information and make a choice. That's what the spiral shit is about. You can't break the cycle. You feel me? You can't break the cycle until you understand the spirals. Then you got to break the cycle. You dig what I'm saying? And the reason why I was saying like he's like me a lot in the mindset of where, you know what I'm saying, my woman, because I live like that. My woman, you know, when she find out she pregnant, blah, 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 it's like, yo, I'll let you get off your feet, baby. The fuck is you doing? But it's in whether or not she wants to. She has the option to do that. If she gets to work one day and say, you know what, fuck it. My man got me. She'll be right. She will be absolutely fucking right. You feel me? But at the same time, it's not a dynamic where it's just like tyranny. You ain't going back to work. You gonna stay here and raise my no, do what you do. But if the shit get overwhelming and it starts fucking with your performance as a mother, we gotta adjust some shit. If a child start lacking and start, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we can't go through that. I'm gonna be at the crib chilling. Dead ass. I'm gonna be at the crib chilling. So I want you at the crib chilling too. But if you want to go to work, go. Now, this is not to imply that I'm gonna be a fucking on some stay-at-home dad shit, not generating Y'all know what I do, bro. Y'all hit my website. Y'all know what I got growing this shit. So I'm not on that type time. But at the end of the day, I gotta keep it a being. You feel what I'm saying? Now, off the other side of that, this is also a spiral part too, because have women have wanted that, but they also fought for some other shit. You feel me? Women fought for other shit, but rather than, well, I ain't gonna say women. White women fought for other shit and they brought every other woman involved and then back the fuck out. You feel me? And just made y'all feel like some shit was going on when it was just really their household that was fucking up. But when you look at that, they have a set spiral, set cycle that they have a set cycle with the men that they have experienced in their life, and they haven't changed the way the spiral is gonna go. So I be wondering, like, when women be saying shit like, why can't I get it right? You see what I mean? You have the choice to get it right. Your spiral is what you want. I've had women say some shit, I don't like fuckboys, and also say I like what I like. You like fuckboys, baby. Like, it's okay. It's okay if that's what you like. But if you don't want to be hurt by a fuckboy anymore, you need to change. Otherwise, you're gonna spiral to, like, for example, I'm a born again fuckboy. I'm a born again fuckboy. So I'm the type of fuckboy who has positive tendencies, who can still do the fuckboy shit. Cause women, the reason why they like fuckboys and shit, cause fuckboys fuck them like you ain't fucking again. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like most of it is physical. But you want that energy with a motherfucker with some sense, you're not gonna get it. Like, that's the energy space you want to stay in. So you have to change your spiral. You have to change your spiral to go and gravitate somewhere else. So the cycle may be the same, but you got to be able to spot it. You feel me? That's why it's like, yo, women be like, yo, this is too good to be true. It is too good to be true because you're spiraling in a different perspective. You feel me? It's not. It's too good to be true in the context in which your cycle is set. You feel me? Ooh, I love a hood nigga. Like, I had a girl for like, I'm gonna end with this for real. The girlfriend that cheated on me, right? She cheated on me with a hood nigga. She told me out her own mouth, she said, I just wanted hood love. Like, that was when I was like, so I just gotta know, like, why the fuck did you do that to me? She's like, deep down inside, I just wanted hood love. I said, but you ain't never been to the hood. You're not even from the hood. You grew up in an affluent $250,000 home in a gated community. You don't, how the fuck do you want hood love? And my perspective was like, I was trying to get away from that. And this is one of the lessons that it taught me, because the guy that she cheated on me with was, he had just got out of jail or whatever the case may be. And, he was selling weed and trapping and shit. He told her, she was like, I want to go back and get my master's, but I'm gonna need 50,000. He said, yo, I can get it for you. Nigga, not selling weed. Nigga, you think you fucking Nino Brown and shit? The fuck, nigga? No. I said, and I asked, I said, yo, you really think he can do that? And she was like, I'm willing to try. I know weed numbers, bro. Like, that's not possible. He not selling. He not gonna pay your tuition and weed money, stupid ass. But you want to try it, go ahead. But that was my perspective. It was like, what it brought me back to is like, you forgot who you are. You forgot your cycle. You tried to erase your cycle. You feel me? Rather than realizing I can't break it. I just spent so much time trying to detach from the hood, realizing that no, I need to take my hood ass and spiral it up. I couldn't shake that shit. That shit brought me back to reality. It was like, yo, she left you for a hood nigga, bro. She left you for who you were. Like, she cheated on you for what you were. Like, it was like, yo, that's what she kind of, but it was deeper than that. Because when we first met, she was like, oh, I knew you was from the hood or whatever the case may be. I could tell by, your demeanor and your swag and everything, but you study? I'm in an honors program, baby. Like I'm I'm an honor student. I live over here in the honors dorm with y'all. Like, you feel me? But I was so like I was fresh out the hood when I came to college and shit. So you feel me? Like I was, I had not had that maturity yet, but I tried to run away from it. And it was in running away from it that made me change my reality. But I couldn't change the spiral. You feel me? Certain shit still happened. Like after the shit popped off and shit with, and then the dude talking about he was gonna kill me or some shit like that. I said, look, girl, you better tell that nigga who the fuck I am. You feel me? You better tell that nigga who the fuck I am. Like, oh, now you want to get like, I've been like that. I didn't want to show that side because I didn't, but it's like, you're always supposed to show that side. You're just supposed to spiral it from a different perspective because you can't break the cycle because you didn't create that cycle. You have to first get the spiral off of both perspectives and see where does this shit find in the middle. That's when I started to find that a lot of these things were because I was in a state of survival. I was in poverty. I was in all these things. Now I can change my reality. Now I can break the cycle because I understand the spiral. And I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. This shit got long as hell, but it was deep. I needed to get this one out. So go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables and pay attention to just watch your children grow up. Watch your children grow up. Watch the shit that they do repetitively. That is the frequency. That is a vibration. That is the thing that they do on a regular basis, right? Watch how they play the role in that shit. Just watch them. You feel me? You start to see their cycle in motion. You start to see what cycles you put into them. And then you'll see which way in which they like when parents be looking at kids and be like, I don't know where you get that shit from. That must be from your daddy's side. It's actually from both of y'all. Because you two were able to gravitate towards each other. That's your daddy's side, that's your mom's side. You two were able to gravitate towards each other because you reverberated from one another. You feel me? Like when I looked at my violent side, I used to be on some shit like, damn, bro, because I was raised without a father. So I'm thinking all my violent side came from him because I never seen my mama do violent shit. When I was fighting in school, my mama had us in church praying and all this other shit. I was whooping motherfuckers' ass in school, down the street. I didn't give a fuck. Like, yo, you say something slick, I'm busting your ass. I didn't know why I was like this. So I'm thinking it's from my daddy's side of the family. I meet my daddy's side of the family and shit. They violent. They fight all the time. It's like they bust ass and shit. I'm like, yo, like, you feel me? And we just had that warrior spirit. Then we hear stories and shit. My mom like, yeah, they used to call us the Jones girls. My daddy showed us how to hit a bottle on the side of the curb and stab a motherfucker. She like, she ain't say motherfucker though, because when they get saved, they don't go back to their old shit. You know what I mean? She like, I got an auntie, which was the Jones sister. She was like, yeah, she used to hide razor blades in an afro. And whoop, she said she would go to town on you because she knew that girls were gonna grab your hair. So once you grabbed at the hair, you getting cut. And she just wailing on you. Bing, bing, bing. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't just get this from my daddy's side. You feel me? I got this from your side too. You feel what I'm saying? But she taught me early. And there's a lot of things I love and respect my mother for. But she taught me early what to fight for. That was how she was like, yo, he's a fighter. My son's a fighter. There's no way I can change that. It's in him. He's a fighter. I got to give him something to fight for. So that's when she started putting me on the Malcolm X shit, the Martin Luther, like she made me a pro-black person at a young age. You feel me? And so in that context, it's like my spiral was different. Go fight for something else. Last time I fought a black person, I was 15 years old. It was my best friend. I was the last black person I ever fought. You feel me? Because I understand what I got a bigger fight. Does that mean I won't fight you? No. Don't think just because you black, you won't catch the fade. It means that the fade is the last resort. It's no longer the first. I would literally try like everybody else, nigga, you can get it right then. But my people, I had to change my perspective with that. I had to spiral. So I'm saying that to say this. When your babies have certain behaviors, pay attention to them, but watch where the spiral is going. Most children aren't bad. They're spiraling according to their cycle. But we're calling them bad and we're saying, yo, you bad, you doing this. They're reacting to the cycle in which they're imposed on. And now they're choosing the spiral that feels more comfortable and gets more approval from the parent. Pay attention to that shit. You don't take psychology to see this. All you need to do is look at your babies. They don't do that at home because they know they get in trouble for it. But they know that home is my most comfort space. So I'm going to spiral according to the cycles in the home. You feel me? I seen one video where the little kid had a little Mountain Dew in his hand. He was sagging he was like, had to be like 2 or 3 because he was talking. He was sagging his little sweatpants, his diaper showing and shit. He had his shirt off. He started hitting himself in the chest. He said, "I'm the daddy. I'm grown." And then turned around and walked off. He repeated behaviors that he's seen. And he's cycling from a perspective, well, he's spiraling from a perspective of the negative shit that he saw. You dig what I'm saying? That's the reality that we got to prepare our babies for. When you see they cycle, don't try to correct it. You can't stop the behavior. You can't stop the cycle. They can stop the cycle because they have to be the ones to stop it, but they have to understand both directions of the spiral. And not just from a perspective of consequence. I'm going to beat your ass if you don't do this. It's like, no, teach them how to understand the cycle that is them, the things that they repetitively do, and give them the other side of it. And then show them the pros and the cons of both. Let them meet in the middle so they can break the cycle themselves. So that way they can be profoundly profound. But I'm going to end it right there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat the vegetables. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.